Welcome, beautiful souls, to Witnesses to Happiness. I am so deeply grateful you found your way to this explainer today. Let's just take a deep, settling breath together. Today we're going to explore a topic that is so often shrouded in mystery and misconception. We're looking at tarot. But we aren't going to look at these 78 cards as mere objects of magic or supernatural fortune-telling. Instead, we'll gently unfold them as a profound, really beautiful tool for self-discovery and inner clarity. So let's dive right into this. Can tarot truly predict tomorrow? I really want you to just sit with that question for a second. It's such a widespread myth, right? This idea that has absolutely fascinated society for centuries, the hope that we might simply draw a piece of paper and know exactly what the future holds. But what if the true magic isn't in seeing the future, but in finally seeing yourself? The cards speak. Are you listening? Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. Those words from depth psychologist Carl Jung perfectly capture the paradigm shift I want to share with you today. The answers we so desperately seek during moments of crisis or love struggles or career blocks, well, they aren't waiting for us out there in the future. They're already resting, perhaps hidden, deep within our own subconscious mind. The cards are really just the keys that help us unlock that door. Section 1. The Journey of the 78 Cards. What's truly fascinating is how history completely challenges our assumptions here. The cards didn't just magically materialize in ancient Egypt, as a lot of romanticized myths claim. They actually began in 15th century Italy as a rather mundane, profane trick-taking game called Triumphi. Essentially, it was just a Renaissance parlor game. It really wasn't until the 18th century, during the French Enlightenment, that figures like Antoine Comte de Gerbolin projected these entirely unsupported Egyptian occult fantasies onto the cards. But the true turning point, the moment tarot actually became a mirror for the soul, was in 1909 with the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Illustrated by Pamela Colman Smith, this deck democratized tarot. She replaced those simple geometric shapes with rich, scenic, psychological narratives that anyone, literally anyone, could intuitively understand. Section 2. The Psychology of the Cards. So if historically these cards were just a game, why do readings feel so deeply personal and accurate? Well, the secret lies in the brilliant architecture of the human mind. Have you ever read a meaning for a card and thought, wow, that fits me exactly, that is literally me? This is closely tied to what psychologists call the Barnum Effect, which was demonstrated so powerfully in the 1948 Fourier experiment. In that study, students were given a generalized personality text, essentially horoscopes, yet almost all of them believed it was uniquely tailored to them. Now, while skeptics use this to completely dismiss tarot, I invite you to view it with deep empathy instead. This cognitive bias is actually beautiful evidence of our human soul's profound yearning for personal meaning, connection, and understanding. And this brilliantly illustrates a core truth about our perception. We see what we seek. Our minds are naturally wired for pattern recognition. It's like a giant puzzle we're always trying to solve. Whether through cold reading, where general statements are filtered by our own reactions, or confirmation bias, where we only remember the hits and conveniently forget the misses, the reality is this: we see exactly what we are looking for. The cards offer universal symbols, and our beautiful, meaning-making minds connect those symbols to our specific, lived experiences. The answers are truly coming from within you, not from the cardboard. So, the absolutely crucial point here is that a tarot reading doesn't observe the future. It acts as a catalyst for our future behavior. This happens through self-fulfilling prophecies. On one hand, we have the Pygmalion effect. If the cards inspire you and predict success, your self-efficacy increases. You walk into that job interview with radiant confidence, actively creating the exact success you desire. But we also need to gently warn against the Nocebo effect. If a reader plants fear or anxiety about a relationship, you might subconsciously engage in self-sabotaging behavior. You might start pushing your partner away just out of mistrust. We must never surrender our personal power to fear. Section 3. Mirrors of the Soul. Now that we understand the psychology behind it, I want to invite you to see how we can actively and safely use these 78 cards for profound insight and empowerment. Carl Jung beautifully recognized that the major arcana of the tarot, figures like the Mother, the Emperor, the Hermit, they aren't predicting events at all. They are reflections of human archetypes. These are universal, primal symbols residing deep within our collective unconscious. When we pull a card, it acts as a key, unlocking our hidden depths, our repressed feelings, and our dormant strengths. The cards speak. Are you listening? When you draw a card during a moment of crisis and it just perfectly reflects your situation, you're experiencing what Jung called synchronicity. It's a meaningful coincidence. The source material gently debunks the modern trend of using quantum physics or kind of quantum mysticism to explain tarot. Honestly, we just don't need complex subatomic theories. The beauty of synchronicity is that the card simply allows you to deeply grasp the quality of the time you are in, meaning the unique energy or lesson of your current moment, connecting your inner reality directly with the outer world. Let's move to the next step and see how this builds into a very practical therapeutic practice in your everyday life. This is really akin to narrative therapy. First, you draw a card as a visual mirror. Second, observe your immediate emotional projection. What do you see in the image? Third, use the image to externalize your inner block. Suddenly, your fear isn't just trapped inside you anymore, it's right there on the table, represented by the artwork. And finally, by interacting with that image, you discover your own intuitive solution. You become the author of your own story again. Section 4. Protecting your spiritual journey. As your guide today, it is my responsibility to ground us in practical safety. We must navigate the modern spiritual wellness market with open hearts for sure, but also with clear, discerning eyes. Please, dear friends, be mindful of these warning signs. In the digital age, charlatans will absolutely use fear to exploit vulnerability. Be extremely wary of impersonators asking for money in your direct messages, or fear-based marketing claiming you have a curse that must be broken for a fee, or really anyone promising a 100% guarantee to bring a partner back. Legally and scientifically, predicting the future with absolute certainty is an objective impossibility. A true spiritual guide will always empower you. They will never use fear to control you or demand exorbitant fees during a time of crisis. Always remember this profound truth. The cards are good servants, but terrible masters. They are a wonderful, beautiful space for self-care, for mindful journaling, and for awakening your own agency. But you must never delegate your life choices, your beautiful free will, to pieces of printed paper. You are the master of your destiny. As we bring our journey to a close, let's just reflect on this final thought. Carl Jung warned that whoever goes to himself risks a confrontation with himself. Tarot has evolved from a simple aristocratic game into a brilliant, secular tool for introspection. By leaving behind the myth of passive fortune-telling, we step into a truly empowering reality. We use the cards to confront ourselves, to reflect on our truths, and ultimately to heal. So the next time you shuffle a deck, remember that you hold not a magical crystal ball, but a mirror. I invite you to deeply trust your own intuition. Take a breath, listen to the quiet voice within, and ask yourself, what will your soul reveal today? Thank you so much for walking this path with me today. May your journey inward be filled with light and endless discovery.